Good evening, everybody.
I just found the keys to a city. The beats are big and the lights are pretty. So why can't we go to the busy where the dreams are in the sky?
And that's There You Are by Pogo. And here we are. Hopefully here you are. This is Lost Mannerisms. I'm your host, Forrest.
I'm Al.
And we got a good show. We've refined a bit. We've trimmed a few things down. We're excited and happy to be here as always. What's our drink of the week, Al?
Well, our drink of the week was a Tom Collins. Well, I guess it still is, but it's a watered down Tom Collins. It's about 90 degrees in this barn, and
There was ice in here.
there was. It's still refreshing and still tastes good.
So other than melted water, well, melted ice,
Melted
that's
ice,
now water, what's in the Tom Collins?
Gin, lemon juice, simple syrup. You mix that over ice and top it off with club soda.
It is quite good.
Yeah, they're refreshing.
I'm curious how we make it, though.
Oh, well, if you're curious, you can go onto our YouTube channel at Lost Mannerisms and check out our drink of the week video.
And if you want to know when we post stuff, you need to subscribe to us. And according to a lot of people I'm listening to, there's been a lot of stuff where YouTube's been curating things differently. So if you want to know when we're posting new segments, new videos, you have to hit the notification bell.
Yeah.
Do we have any disclaimers this week?
Not yet. Let's
Not
jump
yet.
right into the news.
Jump right into the news?
Yeah.
All right, so we're recording our videos every 2 weeks, about a week in advance, because we're refining our post-production skills still. I'm not quite too quick with that yet. There's a lot goes into it. I've gained some appreciation for some people.
I forgot to silence my phone.
Oh man, slacker. So recently, I guess it was just after we posted the last video and a week before we recorded this and 2 weeks before you guys get to see this, President Donald Trump pardoned a father and two ranchers, a father and son. Their last name is the Hammonds.
Yes.
What do you know about this case, Alfred?
I know that this is a long and winding case. It all started about 20 years ago now. I think early like 2000, 2001 was the first time, and then a couple years later, there was the second incident. Basically, there were controlled burns on these ranchers'
Want me
land.
to tell you something crazy?
What?
I actually sat and watched the documentary on this, or at least half of it, when they were really talking
Yeah.
about the Hammonds. This started in the early 90s.
Yeah.
The Hammonds had what state is it? It's Oregon.
It was Oregon, yeah.
It's Oregon, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
So Oregon has water laws on your property that if the water's on your property, you get to use it until it's gone. Or at least in the 90s they did. I don't know with the EPA,
Yeah.
DEP, whatever, that might have changed. But you were allowed to use the water on your property. That's absurd, right? How could you use the water on your property? They put up BLM land next to it, which is the Bureau of Land Management. And they decided to allocate some of it to wilderness.
Mhm.
And they decided that the water on the Hammonds' land was more important.
Yes.
That it was more important for them than it was for the cattle that the Hammonds owned.
Yes, so this has been a long and winding, basically a fight between
That
these
was a-
ranchers and the government.
That was a big legal
Yes.
case. The guy parked something in the way of them building a fence, and
Yes, this had been
And
going
they won.
on.
They
Yes,
won that.
They did. They
when-
didn't win about a few years later. Like I said, in the early 2000s, there was a series of what were technically controlled burns.
that got out of control.
Yes, that went out of control and spread to managed land.
Yes.
And-
Well, the funny thing is, it's managed land that they had the rights to
Yes.
graze their cattle on.
Yes, but the federal government jumped on that and said this. It was
10 years
essentially-
later.
Yes, 10 years later came back to this and said, well, you started a fire on government land and that's illegal.
Yeah.
And
Which
went after
it
these
is.
guys. Yes,
But it like in their defense of it being controlled range, or this video is gonna suck, and I apologize. Our barn roof is expanding and contracting, and there's going to be a lot of poppings that we're not going to be able to get out. So we'll try to talk a little louder, and so at least you can hear us over it.
I like it when you scream.
Ooh. Why would they burn their own livelihood if it's the land that they're ranching on?
Well, it's required for regular maintenance in that type of area.
But some of the fires were outside of when they normally do controlled burn, so it's hotter, everything's drier. Why would they try to destroy their own land? I guess it's not their land.
Are you asking me a rhetorical question?
A little bit. But anyway, it went to court. They got tried for arson.
They pled guilty. They took a deal and they got like a suspended sentence. I think they spent like a month in jail.
No,
they spent a month or two in jail.
The old man took 2 months. I think,
2 months.
And the son took a year and a day.
Okay.
And
so reduced. The federal minimum is 5 years.
Well, that's where it gets kooky.
Yeah.
Because the federal minimum is not 5 years.
Well,
the federal minimum for a terrorist charge is 5 years. And the prosecutors, without telling the jury, prosecuted them under the terrorism charges. So they got out of jail, and someone in D.C.,
decided
other side of the country, not near the people who make the wonderful cheeseburgers that we enjoy,
decided that they couldn't serve those sentences because they didn't meet the minimum and threw them back in jail.
That they had to go back.
Yes, they basically threw them back in jail.
Now the
long story short.
The issue that came about was with their guilty plea, they forfeited rights to appeal.
Yes.
So because they pled guilty to the older gentleman taking 2 months,
yes,
and the son taking a year, they couldn't appeal when the Ninth Circuit decided, we're gonna make it so you have to serve this 5-year sentence.
So that and they were recently pardoned by Trump. This isn't really the juicy part of this story, though.
Well, I think that's pretty juicy.
It's interesting. It's definitely interesting.
I think it's fun that the guy who helped push for the pardon is his name's Forrest. So
that's why you wanted to talk.
I wanted to talk about that because it's Forrest Lucas. Have you ever heard of the the name Lucas Oil Products?
Yeah.
Like engine additives.
Yes.
He's all for supporting agriculture. There's a whole. We're not going to get too political into him, but. He's supposed to be a good guy.
I wouldn't know.
The products are good, and he helped get the case to
That's interesting.
Trump.
I think that was probably a good move. These guys didn't really. They're getting taken through the ringer by the government, and that wasn't really fair.
But there are some people calling them domestic terrorists.
Well, now we're getting into the juicier part, I think.
So I know.
And to be fair, now I do have to say they were not really connected with any of.
No, well, that's that's the fun part with these people who are comparing them to domestic terrorists.
Well, okay, let's put the background. What we're talking about is
no. I think we're going to merge into it. So they're being called domestic terrorists because of actions taken by people who were against the 5-year imprisonment, who
acting on their behalf,
who acted in their behalf
without their
after the Hammond said no, we don't need your help. So.
This was
these two. So because the Bundys.
Yes, this was the Bundys. This was I guess it was a year or two ago, maybe more than that now.
It was a little bit ago. But a long time.
Yes, they took over a unmanned wildlife reserve.
Was it completely unmanned?
Yeah, it was the off season. No, it was the off season. There were no rangers there at the time. It was a small outpost.
Okay.
Basically,
I know that they didn't actually kill anyone.
Yeah, no, there was no violence. Until later, they didn't perpetrate any violence. They took over this outpost. And there was an extended standoff with the FBI and
But this is after the Bundys already had a standoff.
Yes, this was standoff number 2.
For the Bundys. The Bundys won their first standoff. It was... that was a whole separate thing. And on this documentary, they were talking to one of the Bundys We're like, we thought that we had done such a good thing before that we would continue to do our work, and they're real anti-government type. Oh, they're real anti-federal government types.
I think those guys are nutcases. I'm just gonna say it.
I think that they were justified in what their initial standoff.
I don't think so. I don't.
But they were charged. Well, I think they were justified in their initial standoff. Maybe not as much as far as they took it, but the second one could have gone about a whole lot better than it did.
Well, yes, I agree,
They didn't
but
have to take over a federal building.
no, I think their willies got a little hard at the idea of putting on all their guns and bulletproof vests and taking over a federal property. I think they got a little excited about that. I don't think it was. It does sound fun. I never get to do anything cool with my guns,
But
I don't think they should have done it.
Yeah,
we're not children. You don't do that.
maybe, they went about it in a way that maybe makes a good point. Because they didn't hurt anyone. They didn't.
But someone did get hurt.
But someone on their side got hurt.
Yes, but
So someone got hurt, but
someone got killed. They didn't get hurt. They got killed.
Yeah. Yes, but I don't know the whole extent of that. There was some car chase.
There was
A guy tried to run over some people.
He tried to run a blockade. He allegedly tried to run over one of the FBI agents. He got out of the car, and this is where it gets a little fuzzy. He apparently pretended to surrender and then reached for a gun, and they shot him.
Classic misdirection. Classic misdirection.
Misdirection. The old oops, I'm gonna surrender. So I wasn't there. I couldn't
don't
say
know.
exactly what happened.
That's
But
why
there is a lot of video footage of it, and it seems like ooh, this is loud.
Yeah.
And you were worried about waiting for it to rain.
I wanted to avoid the rain, but it might as well be raining. It's just as loud. All right. I think it's a good thing that they got pardoned.
I agree. I think this has been going on for years and years. They served their time.
I'm slightly against the first punishment they got.
I don't know.
This was also the third time that they had done something again that touched the federal land, or so maybe the first sentence wasn't crazy.
Well, I think they were playing with fire when they were doing that. And it was sooner or later someone at the federal government was going to go after
a fine
them.
would have been better.
Maybe.
But definitely not 5 years in jail. So
I agree. I think that was a little overboard, and I'm glad that they got pardoned.
Now,
Wow, so that was a talk. Now let's get on something a little more lighthearted, or maybe not.
we're going to talk about feminism again, in a sense.
I don't know if I'd call this feminism.
Well, yeah.
Body acceptance?
The body acceptance movement.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure by now most of you have heard about what fat shaming is.
Well,
And-
let's give a brief summary of what this story was, and then we'll talk about it. I'd like to have a little discussion about this.
Well, so this woman, Anna O'Brien,
Who's a plus-size model.
is she a model or a
Yes.
writer?
No, I think she's both, but as I understand it, she's done shoots like this before. Maybe for the purpose of writing an article, but
Maybe.
as I understand, this was not the first attempt
Oh,
at
okay.
something like this.
I didn't know that. Learning things myself here. So she went into Times Square in New York
Yes.
City, and in the article she's like, I can't believe I was going to do this. And she strips down to a bikini.
To take pictures.
To take pictures, and I think that this was set up. I think she wanted to write an article on how she was fat shaming.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I think she said that in the article. She said she had been going there to kind of document this, like, an instance of people, or she expected people to jeer at her and say, oh, you're fat, you're disgusting, get off, put some clothes on.
Which, she's not exactly chubby, plump.
I'm not a doctor, but I would say she's probably not healthy. But
that's fair to say.
again,
she is,
you know, I understand what she was doing, and I admire her conviction. I admire what she was doing. I understand it, but it didn't turn out the way she expected, and
so
yeah.
there were some men there.
Or maybe it did turn out the way she should have expected it to. It
Well,
was New
she
York.
was expecting to be fat shamed, and instead she got
heckled. She got heckled, by because she took off her clothes in Times Square and men heckled her.
Which,
When you say it that way, it sounds kind of obvious.
like, yeah.
This was an extensive article she wrote for Cosmo, was it, right?
Yeah, I think so. That's where I saw it. It wasn't that
It is
upset.
where I saw it.
But they were talking about how, like, what she was hearing, like, what, do you have any of the quotes?
Not off the top of my head. They were rude. They were your I don't want to say run of the mill, but I guess they were your run of the mill, rude, inappropriate comments that someone might shout off the street to a woman. I don't know.
Yeah, like
How else to
catcall.
describe? Yeah.
Heckling.
There was some choice language involved. It was definitely inappropriate, but
So one of the statements were, "I want to suck on your tasty toes."
well, she didn't need to be fat to get that one. There are a lot of weird people into feet.
One was, "Hey baby, let me butter those biscuits for you." Which maybe it's leaning towards the fat because she's got
I
large
think so.
biscuits, but
I would say that's
but
what he was going for.
I feel
yeah.
like that one wouldn't be that, like, that could go elsewhere.
I agree. You're right.
The other one was, "Twerk for the camera, baby. Show me how that fat ass clap."
Oh my god. You ever wonder what goes through someone's head before they say something like that, like in public, like to someone?
Yeah, like normally you expect like a, "Hey girl,
Oh man.
work it."
So
No, let me twerk for me, girl.
So she got harassed in Times Square when she took off all her clothes. When you say it like that, it's not surprising.
No, I don't think it's surprising at all. But then she writes an article about how she was fetishized.
I think she probably was. I think that's fair.
I think she was heckled.
She was. I mean, she was heckled. She was cackled and heckled. I don't know.
But it seems like she's expecting one end of the spectrum,
And she got the other, yeah.
and she got the other, and she's
Honestly, I thought it was an interesting article because I thought that was kind of interesting. She was very open about the fact that she was like, yeah, I went there like kind of looking to get fat shamed so I could like put this up and like write an article about it, and instead she just got heckled and harassed by creepy dudes on the street.
I don't know. That's
I think that's feminism. All women get harassed equally in Times
yeah,
Square.
jeez. All right. Well, on that note, I think we're gonna jump towards our segment.
Yes.
We're going to try to do it a little better than the last one. Alfred's not going to chop it up as much as he did. But it could have been something with the programming.
I blame the programming.
We're going to talk about gun safety.
We are.
'Cause-
we like guns. I like guns. I have a few guns. You have a few guns.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about gun
Yeah,
safety.
and guns are manly.
So you got to ask yourself a question. Do you feel lucky? Do you feel lucky? Well, do you, punk? So we're going to do our first gun safety video. And my co-host isn't behind the camera, so I wasn't pointing the gun at him. So that's a good start, right? So what we're going to go over is probably one of the easier guns to do gun safety on because of what it is. Right here we have almost the gun from Dirty Harry. It's a little shorter, just a little though.
Is that what you tell your girlfriend? It's
Yeah.
only a little shorter.
Yeah. So we took a lot of time on our other videos, so we're gonna make this one as short as we can. We picked the easiest gun to go over. Wow, that's gonna show up awful. It's easy to go over because revolvers don't have any safeties on them.
Well, some do.
What revolvers have safeties?
I think some Smith & Wessons do.
Some?
I
Okay.
think there's some maybe in like the 70s or 80s.
All right.
only a couple that
All right.
did.
All right. All right. The majority of revolvers don't have safeties on them, so it's very good to know the fundamental safeties of firearms when you're shooting a revolver. So the first thing you want to do before handling it a whole bunch is make sure it's unloaded. And that's basically your biggest safety on a revolver. So then you also want to keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. And we're not going to get into how these guns work, so we're just going to talk about how to keep it safe. So one of the safety, there's a few fundamental safety rules. One is don't touch the trigger until you're ready to shoot. The other is don't point it at anything you aren't willing to destroy. And one of the things I tell people to do is to treat it like a giant lightsaber. Like a really, really long lightsaber.
I think you should also point out that you should always treat it like it's loaded, even if you know it's not.
You should always treat it like it's loaded. And that's also why Alfred's off on this side, and that's why the firearm's pointed this way. Stage right, stage left. And then it's also know your target and beyond when you're shooting. But the biggest thing for being safe with a revolver is, with any firearm really, is your brain. And it comes down to a lot of trigger discipline. And you keep your finger off the trigger. And you don't touch it until you're ready to shoot. And then you can make sure it's unloaded, check it once, check it twice. If you didn't open the cylinder all the way, which every gun is different, so my cylinder release mechanism is right there. You could have done that dump, it would have gotten hung up there and left a bullet in there. So you want to check it a few times and make sure it's safe. And on that, please subscribe, please watch our videos.
Goes to try to get the ball back, get the ball back, get the ball back, get the ball, get the ball, get the ball back, get the ball back. Well,
All right, we're back.
that was our second segment.
Our
We made
second
it through
segment.
2. I'd like to think it was a little bit better produced than our first.
I think so, but I like to think that this is going to be an ongoing segment.
Yes, it is. We're going to be talking about this with some different guns in some maybe different settings too. Not always going to be in our studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to do. We'll probably do 1 or 2 at the range, and we'll have to do a video on sight alignment at some point.
Yes. Yeah. How to sight in a gun. How to aim.
How to aim.
These are all going to be fun. We're going to have lots of segments with this.
Well, guns are just so big. I mean, we still got so much we can do with the cars. We went over just
Yeah.
basic checks. We could do an oil change. We could do a flat on the side of the road. We could do.
Yeah.
There's a lot. We do have a car.
We do. Well, we'll get into that later. We don't want to spoil that surprise.
Okay.
Anyway, let's get into our products. Do you want to talk about Venmo? That's a bit of a news, a bit of a product, a bit of technology.
it was a news article.
Okay, so do you use Venmo?
I do not.
Okay,
I use cash.
I use Venmo. Okay.
Cash is.
Okay. I like Venmo.
I like
it's convenient.
something you get to hold on to and play with.
For those of you who don't know,
Dive into a
Venmo,
pool like Scrooge McDuck.
you don't have enough cash for that. Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to the viewers.
If people subscribe more, maybe we would.
Venmo, for those of you who don't know, you included apparently,
Yeah.
is a cash transaction app, kind of like PayPal, but a little bit more app-like. It's kind of
Okay.
made to be used on a phone. I think just recently, actually, they ended their website version of it, so you can no longer make Venmo transactions on their website. It has to be through the app.
Okay.
And basically, you pay people for things, and it's set up almost like a social network. You have friends.
yeah. You gotta
when you make transactions, you list things. You can put little emojis as your description. Use all kinds of things.
I paid $5 for a smiley face handgun.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I've come up with some creative ones that I don't think are PG-13 and I won't share.
Oh.
But
Can you buy hookers with Venmo?
legally?
Well, I mean, nothing's like that. Prostitution's illegal. I'm just curious. Can you?
Well, yes. For that, you would use the little eggplant emoji and the little squirty emoji,
Ooh.
and that's how I would label that person.
Okay.
But apparently, people were just finding out that their transaction records are public because they're posting these. Now that might be upsetting for some people
Who are buying hookers.
Yes, if you're doing sketchy things, or if you just don't want people to know what you're spending money on. But I thought, when I downloaded it, I thought it was very clear that Venmo, that these were public transactions. And there is a little button kind of right under where you put in your money and your title that lets you make it public, or public, private, or just for you, basically. So there's a couple levels of privacy. And I don't think it's a big deal, but there was an entire
But there's an entire news
about it.
article on how your transactions could be public.
Well, they not could be. They are public unless you set them to private.
How hard is it to set it to private?
Well, you open up the app and you make your transition or your transaction, and before you submit it, you click on the little privacy setting and you click private. That's very simple.
That popping is really loud. So
It is really loud.
I don't know how we're gonna filter that out, but we're gonna try our best.
It's crickets.
So
It's
yeah,
fine.
the
It's
crickets in the background.
It's beautiful. I love falling asleep to
So
this.
it's that easy. You just
It's that easy.
Okay.
And our product, I guess, our
Could
real
I
product.
see this?
You
thing?
could. If you've noticed, if you've been watching up to this point, you notice we have two things on the table. And the one we're going to be talking about now is this Hollow Sun, this new Hollow Sun red dot.
Now you just got this.
I
right?
did. I just got this to replace an EOTech 512 that I had on my Chris Spectre.
Now is this like a well-known product, or what's going on?
Hollow Sun has been up and coming. I don't think it's an especially new company, but they've really their products have been, like, within the last couple of years, have really sprung up and started to become kind of a little bit better known. They make these really kind of nice, I guess, budget optics, and I've heard great things about them, and so I was really excited to get this.
There's a user manual in here.
Don't force it to.
No.
But so this is a nice little sight. It's about the same size and shape as like an Aimpoint T1 for those of you who are gun people.
It's not very big.
No, it's a small little guy.
Oh, that's the wrong way.
It's got a nice little ghost ring and dot in the center.
Do they give you more than one mount?
There is actually.
Okay, 'cause this
is a riser mount for an AR-15.
Okay, that I was gonna say that's really high.
Can be taken lower. I'm probably gonna leave that with that though.
Okay.
Because I have a flat rail.
So without the mount, the thing's maybe the size of
A D battery, honestly.
a D battery, a cigar that's like the end of a
cigar.
stogie, like a cigar that's been smoked down almost all the way.
And so I'm really excited to sight this in and shoot it a little bit.
I'm just happy it came with the manual.
I know. And we're gonna probably do like a full product review on this. Maybe hand it off to a rugged reviewer one day.
I don't know if that's a good idea.
Maybe not. You're right. I don't. Well,
We'll see.
you know, I am curious to know how well it holds up and stuff. So
Speaking of our rugged reviewer, we
rugged
have
reviewer,
something
yes.
nice for a rugged reviewer to check out.
We
today.
mentioned this in our previous episode, and I've been kind of excited to try this coffee. And it's
Did
the
we
other
let them
product.
take the earplugs home?
No,
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 I
of
thought
course not.
I
That was a serious choking hazard.
they broke the ones in half. I gave him a different one.
Oh no.
I gave them a different one, and they took it home. So maybe
That's why the rugged reviewer was giving us trouble.
I mean, I heard from them today, so we're okay. They aren't dead yet. They just
Can't give them products like that.
we're gonna have to make sure that how that worked out for them, but.
In any case, our rugged reviewer will be taking a look at Black Rifle Coffee Company coffee. I've wanted to try that for a while. You said you've tried one.
I tried one of them. It wasn't my favorite, but it was. I'm not a fan of light roasts. And
Okay, well, this is a dark roast. I like dark roasts. This is, I actually don't know the name. It's the Beyond Black, and our rugged reviewer is going to try that out.
Perfect.
Please sponsor us.
Please give us some things that we can plug.
Anything. I'll do
Maybe
anything for a sponsorship. I will do literally anything for a sponsorship.
All right, I might have some connections with this one company that makes these long, round, narrow things.
Oh, scopes?
No, not scopes, but
Baseball bats?
no. Quit guessing, and let's go check on our rugged reviewer and make sure they're still okay.
I'm your host, Al, and this is another segment of Rugged Reviews. I'm here with our rugged reviewer, who has not removed his earplugs from our last session. Jesus, man, that was like 2 weeks ago. Can you hear me?
Huh?
No. Okay, so this is going to be a little difficult. Once he figures those out, we'll get into the review. If you noticed, our rugged reviewer is also wearing a bulletproof vest. This is for his own protection.
I thought these were supposed to be condoms.
Our rugged reviewer really can't read instructions. Anyway, we're gonna be talking about Black Rifle Coffee Company today. It's a really cool veteran-owned company. I like their coffee. I've had a chance to drink it pretty much all week, and we're gonna give it to our rugged reviewer and see what he thinks. Why don't we let our rugged reviewer go ahead and try some? Ah, he likes it, even though it mostly missed and went right down his jacket. What did you think of it?
Awesome.
All right. So tell me, on a scale of 1 to America, how good is that coffee?
Freedom!
And there you have it.
There's a big puddle over here, Alfred.
Did you wet yourself?
No, I didn't wet myself. It's all coffee.
Did the rugged reviewer wet himself?
That would have gone through his system really quick.
Well, caffeine is a diuretic.
Yeah.
That was your science fact of the day.
I'm going to have to go wash the jacket now.
He made a mess. Well, I thought, I'm glad about the things our rugged reviewer had to say about Black Rifle.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to be taking this bag home.
Yeah.
I bought it, so.
Even though they didn't sponsor us yet?
Yeah, even though they didn't sponsor us yet.
You know, you'd think a show about manliness, that they'd be all over that. I've seen some of their commercials.
Yeah.
You'd think they would have already been a sponsor a long time ago.
Well, we never actually contacted them or said anything.
Oh.
I haven't even followed them on Instagram.
Oh. So we're going to try to make a quick skill of the week. And
This is a useful little skill, though.
our skill of the week is we're going to be timing Alfred on how quickly
How to mount an optic.
he can mount this. How quickly he
Yes.
can mount this optic.
So you pull that out a
Plus,
little
why
bit.
is there a gun on? I was like, why is there a gun on the table? But
Well, we're putting the optic on. Well, I'm putting the optic on the gun. You know, while Forrest is pulling everything out.
there you go. Time to go.
Well, this is a Chris Vector in 9mm. It's a cool gun.
No one cares what it is. They just want to know how to put the optic on.
Well, I actually don't know. I've never put this on. Oh, this should be pretty easy. So
Shouldn't you look at the user manual?
no, I don't read manuals. That's not manly. I actually don't know which way is forward. I'm going to assume that this way is forward. So what you do to mount an optic to a rifle?
Hold it. You got to make sure it's unloaded.
I guess you do. I wasn't going to insult our viewers and do a really awkward safety check on film. It is in fact unloaded.
Perfect. Thanks for not shooting my hand off.
You're welcome. So what you're going to do is, my rifle has this nice Picatinny rail, and I'm going to put my optic, which happens to be for mounting to a Picatinny rail, onto my Picatinny rail. If I can get it to
Is
sit
it
in
all
one
the way
of these.
loose?
No, it is not.
So you have to loosen it all the
It
way.
is, well, it's loosened most of the way.
And with a Picatinny rail, you have a bunch of grooves. And typically,
We went all the way
drop
there.
stuff.
Okay,
And
there
you
we
have
go.
a bolt that goes through it. So you line that bolt up with one of the grooves, and it's a bolt and a clamp at the same
Oh,
time.
this is the wrong size.
I gave you two.
Oh, you did get out the bigger one.
Yeah, I did.
Man, I wish it was that way in real life.
So then you just tighten it down, and if you actually take the time to read the
Me.
manual, Nice save.
You'll know that,
There's a torque spec.
yeah, no one cares about that.
No.
You should really Loctite this on.
You should make it tight enough that it doesn't come loose when you're shooting.
To be fair though, this is a 9mm. This will not be coming loose anytime soon.
It's still a gun.
I think it'll be okay.
Alright.
Maybe when I get home, I'll Loctite it.
Also, we live in a... This would be a cool gun if we didn't live in the state we live in.
Well, we don't need to get into that. It's still a cool gun. I mean, it's got a little bit of a fake dick. But...
And it's
yeah.
mounted.
It is, there you go.
And you can see stuff through it. So,
Nice.
that's it. That's our skill of the week. We're gonna just put this down here and...
Don't scratch my gun.
I won't. I'm putting it on a towel. Is there any thoughts you have for closing?
I don't think so, you know. We'll probably have this released pretty soon, and
Should we go wear bikinis in New York?
no one wants to see that.
No.
Even less, I should say, even less people want to see that.
I could use the ego boost. And on that surprising note, check us out, follow us.
Yeah, follow
Hit
us
the
on
no-
Instagram, Lost Mannerisms.
Oh yeah, you made an
Yes, we
Instagram.
have a new Instagram. There are no pictures yet, but there will be soon.
Perfect. Maybe of Alfred dropping stuff off the table.
No.
So on that
Gunshot?
shameless plug on our own show, Gunshot. That's this week's episode of Lost Mannerisms.
Yeah, tune in next time. Watch our videos during the week.
And get with the beat.
Are we going?
I think we're rolling.
Okay, Jesus Christ. Okay.
He will not save you.